Hey, thanks for joining me back here at Laser Engraving 911. So today we're going to talk about the 10 reasons why laser engraving businesses will fail. And it's basically just a video about me talking about a bunch of mistakes that I've made over the last 9 years and how I use those mistakes to become better at my trade and have a successful laser engraving business. So if that sounds like something you're into, then get your pen and paper out, buckle up, and let's get into it on Laser Engraving 911. Alright, so number 10, let's talk about pricing. Now I know this is a big one, and when you're first starting out it may be kind of confusing on what you should be charging per job. Well, one thing I can tell you is that you need to figure out what you're going to charge for a house minimum. That means that no matter what anybody brings you, whether it's a little money clip or a wallet or picture frame or a cutting board or something that they want engraved, you will not do it for less than your house minimum. So one of the ways you can figure out what your house minimum would be is if, your hourly rate, is say, $45 or $65, then to make that your house minimum. But you're like, whoa, wait a second. Nobody's gonna pay me $45 to put two initials on a pocket knife or a name on a cutting board. And I'm here to tell you, after being in this business for 9 years, that yes, they will. And there will be a smaller percentage of people that are like, oh no, just for a name on a cutting board, I'm not going to pay you $45 or $65 or whatever your house minimum is. But you know what? Those people are way less than the amount of people. I would say 90% of people are willing to pay your hourly rate for good quality work, and they'll keep coming back for more. So regarding pricing, make sure that you're always charging a minimum for any job that walks in your door, and never bend on that. Yeah, you'll lose a few customers here and there that are looking to get something done for $10 or $15 somewhere. Personally, that's not even worth my time. I don't want customers like that. I know what my worth is, what my expertise level is, and what I do here, and I absolutely have to have a certain amount of money for any job that walks through my door. Do your research. Look around, see if you can find out what other businesses in your area are charging for laser engraving services. Don't get caught up in the I can do it for less game. It will never work for you in the end, and you'll just start a huge, price war between you and the other local businesses. It's just good to understand what the other businesses are charging so you can kind of get a gauge on what you should be charging for certain things like laser engraving tumblers or a pocket knife. The other thing that I want to mention is do not use Etsy as your price guide for what you should be charging for your laser engraving services, whether you're doing watches, cutting boards, knives, whatever it is that you're doing. That is a horrible benchmark. If you want to see an example of what happens when you try to go lower than the next guy, just go ahead and go and look on Etsy, and you'll find out what that looks like. What it looks like is a bunch of people trying to undercut each other to the point where in the end they're really just doing this work for pennies. Even if they're doing it by the thousands, that's even worse, because now you're just doing thousands of jobs to earn what you could be making with just 10 jobs. So I would not recommend that you use Etsy or any platform like that to price your laser engraving services or what you're doing. It'd be better to try to look at more local businesses or even outside of your local area to see, if you can start to get a table of what you could be charging for your business. And then once again, you have to look back at what you are worth and what you need to be getting per hour. That's really important. You know what you need to be getting per hour to make a living. So that should be one of your key starting points. Number 9, not taking the time to make clear and accurate proofs for your customers. So early on, I didn't really in my first couple years, I wasn't taking the extra time to make proofs for customers and make sure that, everything was, that they were exactly okay with where everything was going to be placed. Yes, you may have a conversation at your desk about what needs to be done. You may take your notes. I have learned over the years that when you make assumptions about what you think looks good, based on, even the smallest change after you and your customer agreed on what was going to be done, it's not going to end well for you. So, if you haven't taken the time to really learn Photoshop, CorelDRAW, Adobe Illustrator, or an art program that will allow you to make accurate proofs for your customers and make sure you get them to sign off on those proofs before you actually do the engraving, you're really doing yourself a disservice. So take the extra time, learn those programs, always give your customer accurate proofs for them to review prior to you engraving their item. I know it seems simple. Just to be safe, even if you have to make a small change after they've already approved it, just make sure and ask them anyway. You'll be happy you did, and so will your customer. Number 8, probably something that I'm very guilty of and I still struggle with today. So number 8 is working too much. Burnout. It's really exciting when you're first starting your business. You've got this new laser, engraving machine. You've been practicing. You're ready to start engraving people's stuff. You've been putting in all kinds of overtime, and you start to get your first couple of jobs, and you're super excited. You're like, wow, this is really working. People really want what I can do, and you get caught up in the excitement of it. You start working, crazy hours. You're staying up late at night working on proofs and quotes, and you're just running that machine nonstop. Over the years, I've learned that is, to get caught up in that excitement is really exciting, and you do need to put a certain amount of effort into any business when you're first starting off. But watch out for burnout. All right, let's talk about number 7, folks. Getting the right machine for the right kind of material. That is a CO2 laser, and that machine can engrave a lot of different materials. It can laser cut and engrave wood, leather, acrylic, glass, some plastics that are safe, rubber, silicone, stone, a whole bunch of materials. I'm sure you can find a more extensive list there. But the one thing it's never going to engrave is metal, folks. You're not going to do that with a CO2 laser. You need to get a fiber laser. Fiber lasers are designed specifically to engrave metal, all kinds of metal, gold, silver, steel, copper, brass, all that stuff, and they can actually engrave those materials. They can even do some polymers as well, and some other cool materials, but mostly they're designed for doing metal. Think about what it is that you're going to be wanting to engrave in your laser engraving business. Personally, I think you should have a CO2 and a fiber laser engraving in your shop so you can engrave all the materials. When I first started off, I had a fiber laser only. And I quickly realized that as I opened for business, that people wanted just as much non-metal stuff engraved as they did the metal items. So I realized very quickly that a CO2 laser was something that I needed to have in my shop as well, so I could serve all my customers. I would not recommend getting a diode laser to start your laser engraving business. Yes, they can engrave wood and leather and some other materials, but they're highly limited to what they can engrave, and they're extremely slow. Understand the type of laser that you're buying, what it can engrave, what can it cut, and what it cannot cut before you go ahead and make that purchase. All right, number 6. Let's talk about the speeds of different laser machines and why that's important. So when I first started off, I had no idea, or I didn't do my research on how fast certain machines could go versus what would be considered a slow engraving machine. And when you have a business, a laser engraving business, time is money. I can't stress that enough. You need to be able to effectively complete the job as quick as possible with the highest quality so you can move on to the next job. If you're spending half of your day trying to engrave one job because your machine is so slow and you didn't do the research to find out that it was actually a really slow machine, even though it had a lot of wattage, you're going to be kicking yourself in the pants and looking for a faster machine pretty quick. So now we're going to throw up a chart so we can talk a little bit more on various speeds of machines that are out there in the market today. You need to compare these speeds to the highest rated machine all the way down to the slowest machine, so you can understand if that machine is something that you really want in your shop for your laser engraving business. In this chart, I've listed 7 machines and posted their stated maximum speed that the laser head can travel in inches per second. Keep in mind that these are the maximum speeds, and most likely your machine will never be running that fast no matter what machine you buy. What I'm trying to convey to you here is that the speed of your machine is just as important as the wattage and bed size and other features. If you don't know how fast the fastest laser engraving machine can go, then you don't really know what you're missing, right? The speed of your laser machine will dictate how much business you can do in a day, weeks, or months. The faster your machine speed is, the more money you'll be able to make each day, period. All right, number 5. Not having a professional presence in your market space. Even if you're small and you're just starting off, go ahead and spend the extra few dollars to make yourself a professional looking website that talks about your service, shows some of your past work, all the different services that you offer. Even if you don't know how to make a website, there's places like Fiverr.com where you can buy yourself a domain somewhere and have them build you the website, and just keep it super simple. Get yourself an email that is attached to the domain of your website. So what I mean by that is, don't use your personal email or a Gmail account with your business name in the front of it. It gives off a sense that you're not really a professional business when you're using that kind of email. Your emails want to come from your name at yourbusinessname.com. Get yourself a dedicated business line. Don't use your personal phone for work either. So you want to have a dedicated business line. You can do that through a cell phone with a minimum plan. My cell phone for my main business is on Pure Talk. It's one of the most dirt cheap plans. I have a junky little super basic iPhone that's linked to it, and my business is run through there. I get voicemail and phone calls, and that's all I need. I don't have any data plans or whatever. The name of the game is fake it till you make it, folks. You want to give the impression a full service laser engraving shop ready to take on all jobs, even if you're just starting off. It really will bring in higher quality clients. You'll get more calls for large scale jobs, and people will see you as a professional laser engraving shop that can help them with their projects. Make sure that once you pick your business name and you get your logo and stuff, that you grab all the social medias as well. Get your Facebook, get your Twitter, get your Instagram, get your TikTok, get your YouTube. Make sure you lock all that stuff down, so even if you're not going to do all that right away, you have it ready to go for the future. Professional presence is a big one. Make sure that you get it done right. Number 4, not taking time to maintain your machines. All laser engraving machines, whether it's a fiber laser or a CO2 laser or a diode laser or whatever you decided to use, those machines need maintenance, and you need to stay on top of that. Follow the guide and whatever the instructions say on when you should do your maintenance. Make sure your lenses are cleaned on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. Make sure that your mirrors are looking good, and all your belt drives and all that stuff. You need to stay on top of that, because it can really become a problem if you're in the middle of a big job and you just got going and all of a sudden you crack a lens, and it's the weekend, say it's a Friday, you got nothing and you need to have that job done on Monday. That most likely could have been avoided with proper maintenance. So don't ignore your machines or neglect your machines. Make sure that you're taking really good care of them. Stay on top of them and follow the guidance from your manufacturer on how to maintain those on a regular basis, and your engraving business will go a lot smoother when you do. Number 3, just learning enough about your trade to do the bare minimum. And what I mean by that is when you first get your machine and say you're going to be doing one particular thing and a lot of that thing. So you research how to just do that one thing with your machine, and because that's what you bought the machine to do in the first place, but you're not really educating yourself on how to do all the other things that the machine can do. These laser engraving machines are amazing machines. They can do everything from engrave photos to laser cut stuff to do cool stuff like I showed you with the powder coating filling, and there's other post-process stuff that you can do also in the laser engraving business, like learning how to paint fill, learning how to work with wood, how to sand wood, how to treat wood afterwards, how to work with different materials. There's so much to learn in the laser engraving world, and to just learn enough to just do one thing is, it's really doing a disservice to yourself, because you have this machine that has so much potential, and you can have so much potential in your laser engraving business by educating yourself. Never stop learning. Make sure you take the time to go out and learn some basic graphic design skills, how to work with Adobe Illustrator, how to work with Photoshop, how to work with CorelDRAW. There's tons of videos on YouTube on how to learn these programs. Paid workshops you can take if that's more your bag. Just constantly educating yourself on how to use your machine in new and exciting ways. Teaching yourself how to really push your machine to the max to get all the different value you can out of this machine that you just invested in for your business, so you can then in turn offer that to your customers down the road. So never stop learning, always keep educating yourself, and that will grow and expand and really do a lot for your laser engraving business and your business as a whole. Number 2, expanding too quickly. For the majority of people that want to start a laser engraving business, you probably spend all your money on your laser engraving equipment, your computers to run that equipment and all that. So what I recommend is start your business from home. Stay in that space. If you have a basement that you can convert into your shop like I did, try to work in that space while you're starting your business, while you're learning your trade, for as long as you can, because the minute you get into a commercial space or retailer space, it's a game changer. A lot of your profits are going to be going towards the lease, towards the electric, towards, if you have triple net, signage. There's all this other overhead that's going to come into that new space that you're now paying for. So say you decide to get an employee, that's something to consider. You've got to really think about all those expenses. So I can tell you from experience that it's not really all that's cracked up to be. Now, sometimes you may have so much business and you need so much equipment to deal with all that business that you need that extra space, and that would be a definite indication that it's time to go ahead and find a space for you to move into, but don't do it before you need to do it. You can totally run a laser engraving business from your house. Yet I'm really actually enjoying not having so much overhead, and I'm able to write off the space that I work in my home. So there's lots of benefits to working at home. And at first I thought, oh, it's going to be weird. Honestly, it's not as a big deal as I thought it was going to be. There has been very, very little time where people were, kind of put off or confused that I work from home, or that they met me at my home for laser engraving work. But overall, it's actually pretty convenient the way that it works out, and I just wanted to really caution against expanding or thinking that step of having a storefront or a commercial space is necessary for you to have a professional laser engraving business. It's not necessary, and I wouldn't recommend that you do it too fast until you absolutely need to do that. And the number one reason why you will fail at laser engraving is you. Don't get down on yourself. Believe in yourself. Know that if you keep at it and you learn from your mistakes, you can do amazing things with these machines, and you can make really good money and a great living doing it and have fun while you're doing it. And you have these machines so you can do your own creative stuff on the side. It's okay to make mistakes. Get back up, dust yourself off, learn from it, and keep moving forward. And you'll realize that all those mistakes that you made and that you learned from helped make you the awesome laser engraver that you are today. Alright, if you made it this far to the end of the video, thank you so much. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe and notification bell. And if you like videos on laser engraving techniques and you want to learn more about some of the stuff I do around here, make sure you check out one of my other videos. So until next time, thanks for joining me on Laser Engraving 911.